I'm Jeff Muslak.
I'm Clark Campbell.
My name is Michael Shields.
My name is Jim Morris.
My name is Murray Saunders.
My name is Tim Harrington. I'm president of Smith Brothers and Wilson, BC, Ltd.
I'm vice president of Smith Brothers and Wilson.
I'm the executive vice president of Smith Brothers and Wilson, BC Limited.
I'm the chief estimator with Smith Brothers and Wilson.
I'm a superintendent for Smith Brothers and Wilson.
My grandfather was Alexander Smith, one of the founders of the company. Well, the company was formed obviously by my grandfather and his brothers. In the summertime they were logging, and in the wintertime when the snow got into the forest and they couldn't log anymore, they started to build houses. And eventually the houses obviously took over and the buildings rather than the logging. They had a partner, Mr. Wilson, who was only a partner for a few years, but they never changed the name. So it remains Smith Brothers and Wilson.
To be a part of this company that's had this history, and you go back and you look at the projects where they started, and it was a core part of their plan, I believe, when the Smiths started the company, was to go where there was opportunities to build things.
We started in Greenwood, which is in the interior of BC, and that was all about the mining booms that were going up there. But they were sort of chasing where the economy was prosperous and doing projects there.
There was periods of time where there were opportunities in various parts of Western Canada. Smith Brothers took, the brothers themselves, took the opportunity to move to those locations.
We moved across the country and built wherever as Canada was growing. It started in the Kootenays, moved up into Alberta and Saskatchewan. We followed the developments of the train, the access for the grain mills and eventually for the businesses that were becoming part of that economy. We survived the Depression and the wars that occurred, both the First and Second World Wars. We built structures and we built military facilities, armories. We built housing for military personnel at the end of the war. And then cultural, when the boom went on in the 50s and 60s, things like the Vancouver Stock Exchange, all kinds of the art gallery, the Besborough Hotel is a famous one that was delivered within a year. Massive endeavor in the middle of the Depression.
I think it was done in 11 months, which is unbelievable. And I've stayed in the hotel myself, so, and it's a concrete interior, then brick facade, so everything was lifted by a gin pole, which is just like a manual hoist. So now you have the hammerhead crane or the overhead cranes that do all the lifting. This was all manual, and of course no concrete pumps, anything like that. And through the winter in Saskatchewan, I mean, just a tremendous feat. But it was in the middle of the Depression. There's an abundance of labor available, so I couldn't think how many people worked on that project. It must have been a lot.
Well, certainly the building of the Seaforth Armory I knew a lot about. The post office I remember well.
Well, the post office is a legendary project for us. I mean, it was $10 million in the mid-50s. And Dad was the project engineer on the job.
I handed it to my dad, who was with the company for all those years, and he was working on that job, and my grandfather actually did all the granite work on the outside of the post office. So, real family history. That's the thing I'm proud of.
The post office was iconic for you, and still is. I mean, it's a heritage building now, and it's huge.
It's a massive building. It still is.
Different buildings along the way that we participated as Canada had the affluence to start to spend money on hospitals, bridges. Those were all parts of the history of Smith Brothers and the connection with the growth of Western Canada.
Well, I think our whole industry has changed dramatically. It's changing every day now, probably a lot faster than it did.
When I first started, we didn't have computers or all this technology stuff, so we wanted to become carpenters. We wanted to work in the construction industry. Nowadays, it seems that the young people coming out of school, they want to be a computer person, but they'll do the construction job until they can get their computer job. So I keep telling them that .coms and all that stuff come and go, but the construction industry still has to build the buildings for all these young people that are coming out of school, and it's an honorable trade to get into.
You know, when you do the tough stuff, there's a lot of pride at the end of it, that you got through all the challenges of actually building this architect's very unusual structure.
The hands-on aspect is an important part, and a lot of the young kids don't like that today. You know, when you're working on your tools, and I worked on them for a number of years, it's extremely gratifying when you finish something. At the end of the day, you look down, that concrete wall's poured and stripped, and you've done a good, and it's in the right place. You've done a good job, and it's a tremendous feeling of accomplishment.
The technology has changed over that period of time, but the fundamentals of the business are the same.
The same is the relationships that you develop with the clients, with the consultants, and our sub-trades.
We focus in on our clients. We focus in on our relationships with our consultants, with the architect, with the engineers. We work as a team to find solutions. Then we work with our subcontractors and our people, and we make sure that we deliver a quality product by everyone working together. That, I think, has been the same all the way along. The technology changes. We're faster now. We use, Revit, and we use all kinds of CAD drafting programs, and in estimating, we use new technology. Our project management software allows information to get exchanged quickly, but at the end of the day, we're delivering a product that we've always delivered.
So the people today are obviously different people. They have different skills, and with communications and computers and all of those things, and yet the basis of it all, it's basically unchanged. Just really good people running what historically has been a very good company.
Constant that been around here is the quality people we've had over the years. I mean, everybody's been really diligent, really good people. You know, it's more of a family operation. So we're all in close quarters. We all work together. So, and I think that's been the one real continuity that's kept everything going. Without good people, you can't do anything. That's all a construction company is the people you have, and the cash in the bank.
Yeah, Smith Brothers has always had someone involved in the Vancouver Construction Association or in CCA, which is the Canadian Construction Association. And so we've always had this drive to work with other contractors, subcontractors, to deliver sort of common messages to the government that's going to help our industry. It's important to be a part of these organizations, because if you're going to affect change, and in any business, whether it's construction or any other kind of business, you want to create an atmosphere or an environment where you can thrive as an industry.
The construction community, in particular in Vancouver, it's a small group. Everybody really has a connection to everybody in this group. And Smith Brothers always had a high level of integrity, high level of participation in the local construction community, and they treated people fairly. And I think that was the most attractive thing for me personally, is being able to see it seeing Smith Brothers as both a trade and then seeing them as a competitor. I always had a lot of respect for the people that are here.
I mean, it's just not one family company, it's a company of families in a sense. And I think all of them feel a family attachment to it. And I hope the new people who are relatively new to the company, their families will have the same feeling.
You know, from when I was a little kid, I wanted to build. I don't know why, that's just what I wanted to do. And so I see that in the people that are coming in, you know, they're here because they not just want a job, they want to build things, and they want to build things right.
The family values of the company continue to be part of the core values of the company. We want people to have careers here for 30, 40 years, and that means making sure they're tied in to our family with their families, and understand we're cooperative and open with them and committed to their families as much as they are to ours.
We all worked for the company during the summers. All my brothers, three of my brothers, the four of us all had jobs in the summer if we needed them. For my older brothers to go to university, and for me to go through the trades, which I came up as a carpenter. So I didn't. The rest of the family are professional engineers, and I'm a carpenter. Proud of it. Our family's been involved for, the past almost 70 years. So.
My dad started in 1954, so shortly afterwards I was born, and growing up as a young guy, he was always working out of town. When I had the opportunity to come and work for Smith Brothers, I would see him every day on a lot of occasions, so it was good that way. Probably more so now is sitting down having a beer with him and talking about all the old projects that he's done and proud of.
Probably our cornerstone project right now is the new Molson's Brewery out in Chilliwack. It's a 400,000 square foot facility we're building, and it was one of the jobs that we were very much proud of getting.
The relationship with Molson's has been fantastic, starting with the original building built in the 50s, and it was a change of ownership when Molson's eventually took it over, but we stayed in the building and we serviced Molson's for almost 50 years in that particular structure down on Burrard Street.
When it came out as a potential job, I thought we were going to have a tough time to beat out all the big players that obviously wanted to do this job. And obviously our long relationship with them meant something, and that was really important, and that was a really good feeling, actually. We have the slogan here, we built the Molson Brewery and we never left.
We really went after this particular job because it was something to carry the history forward, especially in this year when we're celebrating 120 years. To be building another Molson's Brewery was a feather in our cap.
Obviously, I'm getting to the end of my reign here, and it's been very satisfaction that that's probably one of the last projects that I'll be involved in.
Well, the winning of the Molson contract was pretty good. That was, especially I'm at the tail end of my career too, and that was a pretty neat thing. But one of the neatest experiences I had here, we had a real dry spell for about 7 or 8 years ago. We hadn't, the jobs were tough. We hadn't picked one up, and we were low bid on the Edmonds pool out in Burnaby. And I heard the estimator just whooping and hollering down there. That was really kind of a high point, and that was a big job for us too. So.
I think, looking back at the time, it was very difficult. But to look back at it now, as an achievement of what I've done, the Edmonds Community Center is one that I look back and say that was a good job. So it's the kind of project that you can drive by and look at and say, yeah, I built that project, and be proud of it. There's numerous jobs you drive around town, and it may not be your jobs, but it's jobs that were built either in the past or currently being built by our teams, and you point it out and say, oh, look who built that job. And I know my wife will look at me and go, oh, she just shakes her head, not again. Because, yeah, I know, your company built it. So. And
I know Murray's had the same experience as me. He has 2 daughters, I have 3. And of course, we driving through town or up into the interior, and oh yeah, we did that, and Dad,
Ever since a child, we summer holidays, we always had to stop at the projects that Smith Brothers was working on and wait for my dad to go do his shtick. So my kids had to do the same thing. So every time we go by a building now, I point out to them, who did this, who did that. Yes, Dad, Smith Brothers did that. So I mean, it's kind of neat. In a sense of pride and accomplishment in doing those things is extraordinary.
Well, I would like to say that I tremble with pride or something, but you just sort of say to yourself, I call my grandfather Bompa. Bompa built this, or it was built during my reign as a director. So you're very proud of it.
We can drive down the road and show everybody, yeah, we didn't build it, we had a hand in it, but yeah.
Well, there's a lot of pride in driving around the city. In this city and other cities all over Western Canada, you can identify buildings that Smith Brothers has built everywhere. 120 years is a phenomenal milestone in our delivery and our consistency in operating in Western Canada.
To last for 120 years is very unique. Most construction firms last maybe 1 or 2 generations.
Average success rate for a construction company is 3% survive, and we've survived for 120 years now, which is incredible.
Well, let's start with another 120 years. We've had work in the Okanagan, and I'll be at the Safeway store and I'll get some old guy come by and say, I used to work for you guys in 1930 whatever. Yeah, so a lot of people have worked for Smith Brothers over the years all throughout the country, so yeah.
Some friends that were in Regina have told me that on the sidewalks in Regina there's a stamp, they're stamped with Smith Brothers and Wilson on the sidewalks as you go through the downtown corridor. Everywhere you turn there's buildings. We've had buildings that we've been renovating only to discover that we actually built them in the first place.
The last one was at Children's Hospital, the old Shaughnessy Hospital, which we renovated, and it was an old building, and we were criticizing the quality of the work done with that. And Clark Campbell, one of my partners, went through Mrs. Smith's scrapbook, and there it was. We built the original in 1947, I think. So.
We had this similar at the Chilliwack Hospital too, but it wasn't a complaint about the original construction. It was just we didn't even have it on our list, and so we had to do some demolition, and there was a false wall there. And when we opened it up, there was a plaque on the wall, and it said constructed by SBW.
That longevity comes from being the core values. It comes from being focused in on quality, focused in on integrity, focused in on relationships. All those things are key components of the company that mean we have to continue to deliver what we've always delivered.
It's something you have to talk about. You have to talk about the legacy. But when you're not talking about it, it's sort of like so many things you do in everyday life that are really important, but they're just things that you see or you participate in, and it becomes an ordinary part of your life. And you don't think of it as something, at least I don't, as something overly special until you sit down and you ask to talk about it, and then you realize how special it is.
The volumes we have now are rivaling what we did in the late 60s. So, I mean, with, the influx of the new people, the Jeff Musileks and such, it's been fantastic.
We're going in a great direction right now. There's anybody that's looking for work in the industry, they have to love this company, because there is some of the older staff that are probably looking to retire fairly quick, and perfect opportunity for younger people to move in and take some very important projects or tasks on. Yeah, we're going in a great direction right now.
We feel energized. We feel like there's great opportunity for a mid-sized contractor like ours. We feel that our group has high levels of competency within it, and a great deal of capacity to take on large-scale work that we can work with our clients on and develop new technology, develop advanced systems on, and contribute to our clients and provide value for them early on. So we're very optimistic about the opportunities certainly in British Columbia, and in fact all over Western Canada.
The future's looking very promising. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunity out there. We've got a great team of people here, and I can't see anybody holding us back.
We're in the process of building a new building out in Port Kells in Surrey,
and our design is we've submitted through our permitting, and we're waiting to break ground in the next few weeks. Hopefully by the time this video goes, we'll be able to show it.
That will help house the growing staff, the growing capacity, and the growth that we anticipate. So it's exciting.
It's a positive work environment. We hope that everybody can collaborate effectively.
I think the company from the very beginning has had an objective of excellence in the work they do. They've tried to produce the best buildings they can within the confines of the restrictions they have to work under. And I think that idea of excellence continues with the company. And certainly my hope would be that it continues in that sense the way it has. There's no evidence it's going to be anything else, at least for the next 1 or 2 decades.
I think it's going to be a tremendous next 10 years. I'll stick around maybe to watch it, but I don't think I'll be that too much involved. So I think it's going to be, going forward, it's just going to be great.
It was very important to me that I absolutely didn't want to be the last president of Smith Brothers and Wilson. And I'm very happy that I'm certain that there's going to be a 5th generation to carry forward and hopefully keep going and going and going.